Good morning, everyone. Is Weather with Sim again. I hope you guys are all having a great day so far. And in today's video, we're going to be going over the threats for severe storms, and one of them looked to be pretty extreme, by the way, so we will definitely be taking a look at that. And then we also will be taking a look at this northeast snowstorm that looks to be coming sooner than later. So if you do live in New England, might want to get ready for it tomorrow, because if I only headed 150 hours out from now, which is all the way till April 5th, it already started showing a ton of snowfall for New England. So like I said, this snowstorm is likely to come sooner than later, so make sure to get ready for it if you do live in New England. But anyway, right now we will have a day to be watching for severe weather, and this is today, where we will have a marginal level 1 out of 5 threat for severe storms across portions here of northeast Indiana and as well as central Ohio. These will be the areas that we do need to be watching pretty closely for. So if you do live in these areas, I do recommend watching the weather today. You don't have to take it serious though whenever taking shelter, because tornado threat, as you can see, we don't have a tornado threat, so you shouldn't need to have your tornado action plan in place. But a wind threat, we don't have a wind threat either, but just a small hail threat. So it actually doesn't look like you have to take it serious at all. I still want you to be using extra caution whenever driving outside, because there could be some hail falling, which is able to damage windshields and things like that. So you don't, like I say, you don't need to take it super serious, but you do need to at least be using a little bit of caution whenever driving, because like I said, there could be some hail falling when you're driving outside, especially if you live in Columbus, Fort Wayne, and all the way back down into northwest West Virginia. Now, for tomorrow's threat, as you can see, we do have a much bigger marginal risk for severe weather, and this one's a little bit concerning, especially because we do have a threat for damaging winds. But first of all, tornado threat, we do have a threat for tornadoes, which is what's going to be making it a little bit concerning compared to today's threat, and it's also a bigger threat too as well. This is mainly going to be heading across Springfield, all the way into portions here of northern Missouri, and then back almost into Indianapolis. So pretty much in between Evansville and Indianapolis will be the area that we do need to be watching for a few tornadoes as we do head into tomorrow. You might want to take this one a little bit serious if you do live in the tornado threat. Not like you're gonna really see a tornado, but at least be watching the weather, and again, make sure you're using some caution whenever driving outside. And then as you can see, wind threat, same area, and then for the hail threat, expands across most of the marginal risk. So hail threat looks to be the main concern for all of the marginal risk, but places like northern Missouri, central Illinois, and into Indiana looks to see the best chance for severe weather due to the tornado threat. But like I said, hail threat seems to be the bigger concern due to how much it expands. So if you do live in let's say southern Iowa, northern Missouri, southeast Nebraska, and northeast Kansas, heading into central Illinois, central Indiana, heading into northern Kentucky, back through Ohio, and then into West Virginia. But like I said, for today's threat, you don't need to take it super serious, but you do need to be using some extra caution whenever driving if there's hail out there, so make sure to do that. But if you do live in the tornado or wind threat, you're going to want to take that a little bit more serious. Now, for our final severe weather threat, as you can see for day 3, we do have an enhanced significant risk for severe weather. The reason why it's significant is because you see these black bars right here that indicates a 10% chance of either EF2 tornadoes or greater, a 10% chance for 2-inch hail or greater, or a 10% chance of hurricane force winds or greater. So what this really means is that there is a potential for one of the severe weather hazards to be hatched, which, like I said, will either mean EF2 tornadoes or will mean some 2-inch hail or greater, or some hurricane force winds. But for this 15% risk, this extends all the way up into southern Indiana, central Indiana, and then back into a little bit of Ohio, pretty much just shy of Cincinnati. But we're mainly just going to be watching the red color. I don't really expect this to expand very much, but I do expect this yellow color to expand more. I think this yellow color could expand more into Ohio, so I do think it could expand into Columbus and Cincinnati like that, and then I do think this bottom part could include more of Kentucky and the extreme southern part of Indiana. So we will be watching for that closely. We will, and like I said, we will be watching for an extent of that slight risk. So definitely keep that in mind if you do live in Indiana, Ohio, at least the extreme western part just shy of Cincinnati, back through central Illinois, Missouri, Arkansas, and Texas. So make sure to watch this water pretty closely. And then if you live in the red color, you're probably going to want to cancel all outdoor plans. You're probably going to want to cover your cars and get ready for this. You're probably going to want to secure your objects, and you're probably going to want to not drive during the day because large hail looks to be very possible. So if you, like I said, if you do live in the red color, you're definitely going to want to take that extremely serious. And then last but not least, we do have another threat for severe weather. This is our last threat for severe weather. And this one's pretty widespread, not going to lie. This one's pretty widespread across places like Maryland, southern Pennsylvania, southern Ohio, back through eastern Kentucky, eastern Tennessee, northern Alabama, northern Georgia, western North Carolina, pretty good portion of Virginia, and as well as all of West Virginia too as well will be included in a threat for severe weather as we do head into Tuesday and Wednesday. So make sure to be watching the weather pretty closely if you do live in this area. I don't think a 30% is going to get issued, but we still certainly do need to be watching it. Now, we will be taking a look at the hazard. So with the NAM model, as you can see, we will first be talking about the cape, okay? These black bars that you see right there, that indicates some cap around, which kind of means that storms won't be able to fire as good or as you're probably expecting. But as we continue to take this forward, as you can see, it does look like storms will be more possible towards the Ohio Valley, but it looks like we see some more areas that could certainly be talking about some storms too as well, and that's mainly this purple color that's showing up, because as you can see, that indicates 300 joules per kilogram, and that indicates a little bit more right there. See, that one indicates 4,000, and it doesn't show any cap there, so it depends, because I mean, this purple color does indicate the same as this one. It's just that this one indicates cap around, which indicates that these storms will be hard to fire on. But as we continue to take this forward, still not showing very much cap over here with some really good cape again. So this area down over towards southern Illinois, southern Indiana, and back through northern Kentucky does look to be one of the areas to watch closely. And as you can see, that cap comes back for a lot of this area. And as we continue to take this forward again, we'll start to see even more cape move through. And the cap looks to be a little bit more significant, but it still is around in parts of Indiana and as well as southern Illinois, so we definitely will need to be watching those areas closely. And as you see, even another round of some really good cape. So it sounds like a main concern will be a couple rounds of 1,000 joules per kilogram, which looks to be kind of crazy, not gonna lie. Looks to be a little bit crazy. And the supercell composite, as you can see, is pretty widespread with the green color and the yellow color. Sounds like the highest supercell composite is going to be this red color and orange color that moves through parts of Oklahoma, northern Arkansas, southern Missouri, back through Illinois, western Kentucky, and as well as Indiana too as well. And as you can see, lots of that red color still already showing up, so it does look like this is going to be quite concerning. What about the significant tornado parameter? And as you can see, significant tornado parameter is actually extremely high. Look at that, guys. We are seeing almost a 4 right there, pretty much 4 out of 10, which indicates a pretty good chance for tornadoes. Not gonna lie, that's pretty much like a 40% chance for tornadoes right there, because it's a 4 out of the 10 supercell composite, as you can see. So yeah, I mean, that will indicate a really good chance for tornadoes, and again, I'm not gonna lie about that. So we will need to be watching for tornadoes, not just in the 30% chance, which was across this area right here, But also this area over here too as well will be another area to watch for tornadoes too as well. And so that's why I do think the 30% risk will need to get expanded more into places like northern Kentucky and Columbus, Ohio. So if we go back to where we were, as you can see again, some pretty good cape and supercell, and as well as significant tornado parameter right there. So it's pretty good right there. If we look at the RAP model or RAP model, either one is good, but as you can see, still showing some pretty good supercell composite in some of these areas. It doesn't look to get going quite yet, especially because it only has 51 hours out. But if we look at, let's look at the GDPS model, or the GEM or DPS model, something like that. And as you can see, looks to be some pretty good cap around. Like I said, these purple cards right here indicate some no cap right there, and all models are going to be showing the cap in a different place, okay? So there's not very good agreement on where there will be cap and where there won't be, but as you can see, just look at that, guys. The GDPS model wants to show widespread 1,000 joules per kilogram of cape, and just look at that. Look at Southern Illinois, seeing the highest cape of almost 2,000 joules per kilogram right there. Same as Southwest Indiana. Look at that, almost 2,000 joules per kilogram right there. But well, that's just crazy, okay? And as we continue to take this forward, as you can see, that will quickly head out. But whoa. Holy moly. Did you see that, guys? A lot of the deep south, let me go ahead and move down here. A lot of the deep south is actually seeing some really good cape again. Jeez, that is crazy. So deep south might be in for some pretty good severe weather too as well. It's just that if we go back to the severe weather threats, it doesn't really include much of the south for the day 4 outlook, but this probably needs to be extended into parts of Mississippi. Not gonna lie, because if we go back to the Cape, that is for Tuesday, April 2, which is exactly the time that I did show you guys the slight risk is on. So on Tuesday, during the day 2 outlook, I do think this needs to be extended into Mississippi and northern Louisiana. And if we look at the dew point across these areas, as you can see, 60-degree dew points across all of this area. And then what about the wind speed? Okay, if we look at the wind speed, oh my gosh, wow, yeah. So I am gonna say that this might need that this risk for severe weather might need to be either changed completely and be moved down here, or it might need to, be all the way down here towards Mississippi and Louisiana. So it will be something that we do need to be watching for. What about the NAM model? For the NAM model, it looks like it does agree on some pretty good wind shear. The lower part or the upper part of the atmosphere, again, really good wind shear. Dew points are certainly in the 60s, and it looks like even 70s. Wow. Okay, yeah, that's a lot. That's gonna be a lot right there. And then Cape, yeah, again, really good Cape right there. So, like I said, I do think we do need to extend that slight risk for severe weather on day 4, which is on Tuesday, all the way down here towards Mississippi and Louisiana, because just look at this, guys. Really good cape showing on all of the models. So, like I said, this will have to change pretty good, guys. And like I said, I'm not going to lie about that. This will need to certainly change down there towards the deep south. But if we move towards up to the north and talk about the Ohio Valley, as you can see, again, showing some pretty good cape across places like, the NAM model rather, showing some pretty good cape across portions here of southern Indiana. So, I think these areas will certainly be in for some really good, like I said earlier, these areas will likely be in for some pretty good tornadoes, because as you can see, significant tornado parameter is orange, so orange or greater indicates a really good chance for tornadoes, and as you can see, it even turns into red and even some purple. Wow. So, we might have, like I said, these severe weather threats will need to be changed, at least somehow, because, we're seeing all of these areas that don't have a great risk for severe weather have, really good probability for tornadoes. So, like I said, I do think this will need to be changed for sure, guys. I do think this will need to be changed pretty good, so we will be watching for that. What about the GFS model, though? We haven't took a look at that, and the GFS model does agree on at least one round of 1,000 joules per kilogram right there across portions of southern Indiana, but not really showing a whole lot, though. It looks like we might have something else to watch for, but that's extremely far out. We're mainly just worried about this one, but like I said, it does seem like we will be needing to be watching for some pretty good storms across southwest Indiana and as well as southern Illinois, Missouri, and Oklahoma. All those areas will need to be watching closely. Supercell composite, not as crazy, but still, look at that, some pretty good orange and as well as red color showing up on the GFS model. So that's a concern too as well. So we will really need to be watching these areas really closely, guys, and I'm not gonna lie about that. We will need to, but since we already been talking about this quite a bit, my official thing about the severe weather is one, this marginal or this slight risk on day 4, because when I looked at the Cape on Tuesday, it showed some really good Cape down here towards the south. So I do think this needs to be extended more into portions of Louisiana and back into places like Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana, like I said. So I think this is going to do something like this, and like I said, that's because we're seeing 70-degree dew points, which is checked off. We are seeing 1,000 joules per kilogram, some areas getting as high as 2,000 joules per kilogram, that's checked off. And really good wind shear too as well. We're seeing wind shear get into the 100s across some of these areas. So that's why I do think there needs to be a severe weather threat issue down here. I think there might be a good risk for severe weather. We will be needing to watch extremely closely though, for sure. And then my next thing is that on the day 3 outlook, which is the day that we have this enhanced risk, we will see a good extend of that slight risk across portions here of western Ohio, heading into northern Kentucky and back into Arkansas. So something like this is what I do expect. This enhanced risk could certainly extend more to as well. Something like that could certainly be possible. And like I said, the significant tornado parameter on the NAM model kind of concerns me, guys. It really concerns me about tornado potential existing across portions there of southern Illinois and southwest Indiana. So that's why I do think this needs to be extended more, so that way it does include those areas. So like extend it into places like northern Kentucky, because I mean, even though that's what the NAM model was showing, I mean, northern Kentucky, places like Henderson, which is pretty much right next to southwest Indiana, will need to, or has been in for some pretty good rounds of 1,000 joules per kilogram too as well. So like I said, this is going to be something that we do need to be watching closely. And so like I also been saying, I do think things will need to be extended, especially the slight risk, but also the enhanced risk could certainly be extended into portions there of Indiana. So it doesn't mean everyone will really see severe weather, it just means we got the kinematics there, so things like that should be happening if we do have the right ingredients there. So that's kind of why I do think the enhanced risk will need to be extended, or the slight risk, either one. So we will be watching for that. But if we go ahead and take a look here at the total snowfall, I did want to show you guys that New England is going to be experiencing a snowstorm. So let's go ahead and go to regional, so not Canada. Let's go to regional. I didn't want this, like I said. Let's see, let's choose northeast. There we go. Finally was able to do it. But as you can see, for New England, that is pretty much from now to April 4th, and as you can see, already showing some pretty good snowfall across portions here of Maine. Look at that. Portland, Maine is actually getting in on some really good snowfall, guys. I'm not gonna lie. Look at that. Wow. That is crazy, guys. I'm not gonna lie. Portland, Maine, seeing this much snowfall, it seems record breaking. Cause I mean, one, it's by the coast, so like seeing this much snowfall is really a big concern, and two, like it's just very big area of literally 2 feet of snow right there. So Portland, Maine is looking like a pretty good, pretty concerning place. I also want to show you that on the European model, actually wants to show that too as well. So it doesn't show 2 feet of snow, but shows still close to 2 feet of snow across Portland, Maine, or even the entire coast of Maine. So for what we can, so from what we saw so far, it sounds like one, the entire coast of Maine is going to be in for maybe up to 2 feet of snow, which is crazy, including Portland, Maine. So you guys in Portland might need to take this serious, especially because we're already seeing model agreement on some really good snowfall, because both the GFS and the European model, which is the two best models to rely on, are already showing some really good snowfall, guys. And again, I'm not going to lie about that. That is just a lot of snowfall and a lot of agreement right there. But anyway, if we go ahead and look at your total precipitation, as you can see, Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, and Midwest seeing some really good precipitation totals across this entire area right here that I'm circling. This is anywhere from 1 inch to as much as 5 inches of rain in some areas, especially this yellow color that you see, these couple of yellow colors that you see right there indicating some really good amounts of around 4 inches of rain. But again, up here towards New England seems to be one of the areas to watch for too as well. It's just that the reason why I think there's a lot of rain showing up is because there's so much snowfall, okay? Like literally 2 feet of snowfall is about 2 inches of rain, not gonna lie. That's a lot of rain there if you compare it to snowfall. So yeah, but thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you guys did enjoy this video. I know this was a really long video, but that's because we had a lot of things to talk about and we had a lot of areas to go over to as well. So you didn't have to watch the entire video if you didn't want to, but I certainly do recommend watching the entire video if you haven't already. But again, thank you guys very much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I did realize you guys got me up to 200 subscribers, so that is very nice of you guys, but I do need more than that. So if you guys will get me up to 1,000 subscribers before fall, that would be awesome. So make sure to do that, and don't forget to like and subscribe.